My husband told me to stand up while I was paralyzed. Stop faking it, Judith. That's what he said.
Well, I couldn't feel my legs. And 14 people watched. Just stand up. Stop faking it. Leo's voice sliced through the laughter and clinking glasses as I lay face down on our driveway. The concrete scraped my cheek. Barbecue sauce soaked into my hair. My body refused to move. I couldn't feel my legs. Not numb, not weak, gone. 14 guests stood frozen with paper plates in their hands. Someone laughed nervously. Someone whispered, "Is this part of a joke?" It wasn't. My name is Judith Santana. I'm 32 years old, and that was the moment my marriage ended, even if my husband didn't know it yet. 3 days. That's how long his mother, Freya, spent transforming our backyard into a birthday fantasy for Leo's 35th. Fairy lights woven through the trees, a custom navy and gold cake with edible gold leaf, matching napkins with his initials embossed. She planned everything, except for me collapsing in front of everyone. "Judith, get up!" Leo snapped again. "You're embarrassing me." Embarrassing. I tried to push myself up. My arms trembled violently. Nothing below my waist responded. Nothing. The last thing I saw before the world went black was my husband rolling his eyes. When I woke up, there were no fairy lights, just fluorescent hospital bulbs buzzing above me. A neurosurgeon stood beside my bed, calm but grave. "Severe spinal cord compression," he explained. "You're lucky. Another inch and you would have been permanently paralyzed." Lucky. That word echoed in my skull. Lucky. Leo arrived hours later, not crying, not shaking, not terrified. Annoyed. "Do you know how humiliating that was?" he asked, arms folded. "My boss was there." I stared at him from that hospital bed, wires taped to my chest, and realized something colder than fear. He wasn't worried about me. He was worried about optics. Here's what Leo didn't know. I work as a billing coordinator for veterinary clinics in Covington, Kentucky. Numbers are my language. Invoices, claims, insurance codes, payment discrepancies, patterns. I see patterns the way other people see faces, and for the past year, I'd been noticing one in our own finances. Leo's consulting income didn't align with what he reported on our taxes. Because I file them. Because he said he was too busy. Because he trusted me. Because he underestimated me. Physical therapy was slow, painful, humbling. Learning to stand again at 32 feels different than learning at 2. There's no applause, no proud parents, just mirrors, sweat, and quiet rage. The worst part wasn't the pain. It was hearing Leo tell people I was being dramatic. "She exaggerates," he told his friends on speakerphone one night. "The doctor said she's lucky." Lucky. So I stopped arguing. I stopped explaining, and I started documenting. Every bank transfer, every unexplained deposit, every offshore payment labeled as consulting bonus. I found a hidden account, then another, then the life insurance policy. Increased 6 months before my fall. Doubled payout if I became permanently disabled. Coincidence? Maybe. Until I saw something that made coincidence impossible. Our neighbor, Mrs. Hargrove, has a security camera facing the street. She's obsessed with porch pirates. 3 weeks after I started walking with a cane, I asked her casually if her camera caught anything unusual on Leo's birthday. She hesitated. Then she showed me. That morning before the party, Leo dragged a heavy decorative stone into the center of the walkway. Not near the garden, not beside the patio. Directly where guests would step when carrying food. Where I would step. He looked toward the house. He adjusted it slightly. Then he walked away. Hours later, I tripped, carrying the brisket platter. He saw me walking toward it. He saw the stone, and he said nothing. That's when my recovery stopped being about walking and started being about timing. 3 months later, Leo announced he was hosting another gathering. "A celebration of Judith's recovery," he declared proudly. Freya returned with her navy and gold decorations. Same backyard, same string lights, same neighbors. This time, I walked slowly with a polished wooden cane. They applauded. Leo wrapped his arm around me like a hero who'd carried me through tragedy. "See?" he laughed. "She's stronger than ever." I smiled. I had practiced that smile in the mirror, soft, forgiving, unthreatening. "Before we cut the cake," I said sweetly, "I have something to share." Leo looked surprised. I handed him a thick envelope, heavy cardstock, no return address. He opened it casually. Then the color drained from his face. Printed bank statements, tax discrepancies highlighted in yellow, copies of the insurance policy adjustment, and screenshots from Mrs. Hargrove's security footage, time-stamped, the morning of my fall. "And," I continued calmly, steady on my cane, "copies have already been sent to my attorney and the police." The backyard went silent. Freya's fork slipped from her fingers and clattered against her china plate. Someone muttered, "Is this a joke?" Leo leaned toward me, his smile frozen in place. "You're bluffing," he whispered. Right on cue, red and blue lights flickered against the fairy lights. Gasps rippled through the guests. A police cruiser stopped outside the gate. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I didn't tremble. I just stood there, steady. The officers walked in calmly, asking Leo a few quiet questions. He looked at me like he was seeing a stranger. Maybe he was, because the woman lying face down on the driveway was scared. This one wasn't. The charges came quietly. Insurance fraud, tax evasion, reckless endangerment. His consulting clients disappeared within a week. Freya stopped calling. The fairy lights came down. And I moved into a small townhouse with wide hallways. And no decorative stones. I still work with invoices and golden retriever dental cleanings, but now I triple-check everything, especially trust. Leo told me to stop faking it, so I did. I stopped faking love. I stopped faking loyalty. I stopped faking weakness. He thought I was pretending to be hurt. He never realized I was pretending to be patient. I thought the worst part was over. I was wrong. Revenge doesn't end when the handcuffs click. Sometimes, that's when it begins. The night Leo was taken away, my phone didn't stop vibrating. Unknown numbers, blocked calls, voicemails stacking up. I didn't listen to them until one came from a number I knew by heart, Freya. I let it go to voicemail. Her voice was tight, controlled. "Judith, this has gone too far. Leo made a mistake. You don't destroy a man over a misunderstanding." A misunderstanding? Like moving a stone into my path, like doubling a life insurance payout, like watching me fall and doing nothing. The next morning, I received a message from Leo's attorney. He was claiming I fabricated evidence, that I manipulated security footage, that my injury had made me mentally unstable. Unstable. Funny how quickly a woman becomes unstable when she stops tolerating disrespect. But Leo forgot something. I document everything. I had copies of Mrs. Hargrove's original footage file, metadata intact, timestamps verified, and more importantly, I had motive. Bank transfers from Leo to an offshore account, a pending business deal that required financial flexibility, a gambling debt I didn't even know existed, until I traced withdrawals from our joint account. He wasn't just greedy, he was desperate. A week later, I saw him for the first time since the party, across a courtroom. He looked smaller, not physically, energetically. His confidence had cracks now. He stared at me like I had betrayed him. Betrayed. As if loyalty meant letting him destroy me quietly. His lawyer argued that the decorative stone had been placed for aesthetic balance, that my fall was tragic, but accidental. Then my attorney played the footage, frame by frame, Leo dragging the stone, adjusting it, stepping back, looking toward the house, waiting. The courtroom air shifted. I didn't smile. I didn't react. I just watched the man who once told me to stand up, now unable to. But Leo wasn't finished. Men like him rarely are. 2 days later, a rumor began spreading that I had been having an affair with a physical therapist, that the fall was staged, that I wanted out of the marriage and needed drama to justify it. The whispers moved fast. Neighbors stopped waving. Old friends stopped texting. Freya was working overtime, painting me as unstable, manipulative, vindictive. And for a moment, it almost worked. Almost. Until I remembered something powerful. Truth doesn't need volume. It needs proof. So I released the rest. Not publicly, strategically. I sent an anonymous tip to the IRS about unreported consulting income. I forwarded documentation to two of his biggest clients, politely suggesting they review their financial contracts. I sent Freya a single certified envelope. Inside it, a copy of the life insurance policy increase, with one line highlighted: full payout in the event of permanent disability of spouse. And underneath it, I wrote in pen, "Coincidence?" She never responded. Then something unexpected happened. Mrs. Hargrove knocked on my door. She held her phone tightly. "There's more," she said. The camera hadn't just captured the morning. It captured the night before. Leo pacing the walkway, measuring steps, looking at his phone, looking at the stone, like he was rehearsing. My stomach turned. This wasn't reckless. It was calculated. The prosecutor amended the charges. Attempted insurance fraud became conspiracy. Reckless endangerment escalated. Leo's bail was revoked. When the judge read the additional findings, Leo finally looked afraid. Not embarrassed, not annoyed. Afraid. He tried to make eye contact with me. I didn't give it to him. The woman on the driveway had begged for acknowledgement. This one didn't need it. Freya tried one last time. She showed up at my townhouse unannounced. No fairy lights, no designer handbag. Just desperation. "You're ruining his life," she whispered. I looked at her calmly. "No," I said. "He did that when he decided my body was collateral." She flinched. Because she knew. She always knew. Mothers like Freya don't raise sons like Leo by accident. They polish them, protect them, excuse them, until consequences feel like cruelty. The trial date approached. Evidence stacked high. Financial crimes, premeditation, intent. Leo's lawyer offered a plea deal. Reduced sentence, restitution, mandatory financial audits. I agreed. Not because I was merciful, but because prison wasn't the point. Exposure was. He signed the agreement without looking at me. And just like that, the man who told me to stand up was ordered to sit. For 3 years. But here's the part no one talks about. Revenge doesn't feel loud. It feels quiet. Like rearranging furniture in a house that used to hurt you. I sold the old home. Every decorative stone removed. Every string light boxed up and donated. I kept one thing. The cane. Not because I still need it every day, but because it reminds me. Strength isn't about standing up quickly. It's about standing up correctly. 6 months later, I ran into one of Leo's former clients at a grocery store. He looked embarrassed. "I had no idea," he said. I nodded. "You weren't supposed to." That's how manipulation works. It hides in charm. It disguises itself as confidence. It smiles at barbecues. My legs still ache when it rains. There's nerve damage that may never fully disappear, but I walk. Not because Leo told me to, but because I chose to. And that's the difference. Last week, I received a letter from prison. Leo's handwriting was shaky. He wrote, "I never thought you'd actually fight back." I folded the letter slowly. He was right. He never thought I would. Because for years, I made his life comfortable, predictable, easy. He mistook silence for weakness, patience for passivity, love for compliance. But here's what he learned too late. The quiet woman taking notes, the one balancing accounts, the one filing taxes, she's not passive. She's preparing. He told me to stop faking it, so I did. I stopped faking forgiveness. I stopped faking trust. I stopped faking smallness. And when I finally stood up, I didn't just rise from concrete. I rose from him. And this time, when I walk into a room, no one laughs. They listen. You'd think the story ends with prison bars, with court dates, with headlines. But real endings? They're quieter than that. They happen in the silence after everything collapses. 3 years. That's what the judge gave Leo. 3 years to think. 3 years to sit still. 3 years without fairy lights and applause and people laughing at his jokes. 3 years without me. But this part of the story, it isn't about him anymore. It's about what happens after survival. Because surviving betrayal is one thing. Rebuilding identity is another. The first night in my townhouse felt strange. No raised voices, no tension humming under the air, no performance, just me, and the echo of my own footsteps, slow, careful, independent. I walked from the kitchen to the hallway without my cane for the first time. It wasn't graceful, it wasn't dramatic, but it was mine. And for the first time in years, so was my life. People started reaching out. Not the ones who whispered, not the ones who believed the rumors. New people, women, strangers. I saw what happened, one message said. I'm going through something similar. That's when I realized something. My revenge wasn't just exposure, it was permission. Permission for other women to stop pretending, stop minimizing, stop absorbing humiliation to keep peace. I began speaking at small community events. Nothing glamorous. Libraries, support groups, local business luncheons. I didn't tell them I was brave. I told them I was observant. Because strength isn't loud, it's attentive. A year into Leo's sentence, his appeal was denied. No reduction, no technicality, no miracle. Freya never attended the final hearing. She sent a short email instead. I hope you're satisfied. Satisfied. Number. Peaceful. Yes, there's a difference. Satisfaction is loud and temporary. Peace is quiet and permanent. I invested the settlement money wisely, expanded my billing services, opened my own small consulting firm, helping veterinary clinics audit their finances, prevent fraud, catch patterns early. Funny, isn't it? The same skills that protected him for years built my freedom. Within 18 months, I hired 2 employees, both women rebuilding their own lives. We triple-check everything. We ask hard questions. We don't ignore red flags, in business or in love. Then one afternoon, I received another letter. Not shaky this time. Angry. You ruined my life. I read it twice. Then I whispered something out loud. No, Leo. You underestimated mine. I didn't respond. Closure doesn't require conversation. 2 years after my fall, I returned to that old neighborhood. Not to relive it, to release it. The house had been sold. The new owners replaced the walkway entirely. No decorative stones, just smooth concrete. I stood there for a moment, feeling the ghost of that day. The scrape, the laughter, the humiliation. And then, I stepped forward, without hesitation, without fear, without looking down. Here's what no one tells you about revenge. The best kind isn't destruction. It's transformation. It's waking up one morning and realizing the pain doesn't control the narrative anymore. It's hearing your name and not associating it with survival, but with strength. Leo thought my body failing would make me smaller. Instead, it made me precise. He thought humiliation would silence me. Instead, it sharpened me. He thought I was faking weakness. He never understood I was studying him, learning him, preparing. 3 years later, when he was released, I didn't show up. I didn't check the news. I didn't ask questions. Because by then, he was irrelevant. And that's the final twist. The man who once needed an audience left mine completely. Today, I walk without a cane. Most days. On rainy mornings, there's still a reminder, a dull ache. But I don't resent it. Scars are proof of survival. And survival, it's powerful. If you ever find yourself face down, humiliated, dismissed, told to just stand up when your world won't move, remember this. The moment they think you're weakest might be the moment you become most dangerous. Not because you scream, not because you threaten, but because you observe. You plan. You gather truth like evidence. And when the time